In this game, we're not playing heroes. We're playing regular people. People just like you, thrown headfirst into a world of madness, violence, and the supernatural. Something alien lurks just beyond reality, pressing in on the ordinary world, just waiting to be discovered or released. And as the truth comes into focus, you'll need to learn how to fight back or lose everything trying. Will you face the darkness or be consumed by it? This is fear itself.
Lead the way. New RPG systems every day. Dice roll, quick adventure calls. Walking through tabletops, golden halls. Masters of pen and paper. RPGs of every flavor. Talking about different creators. The choice of games is never greater. Come with us to games they run through. New, old, and interesting. Thank you all for listening.
Welcome in, everyone. Masters of Pen and Paper here, coming at you, episode 36.
Woo!
You got me, your co-host, Finny, and the other co-host with me,
The other guy, DG. How's it going? We are checking out, I would say this is our first horror focused game, right? Like we've done horror adjacent, but I think this is the first one that's like leaned into it, right? Because I don't know if I consider Vampire the Masquerade horror, quote.
No,
right?
But I would consider Call of Cthulhu horror.
Call of Cthulhu's
though.
horror, yeah.
But this is like we're playing a horror movie
like,
here, right?
This is a slasher film in TTRPG form, if you want it to be, kind of thing, right? Like, it's a really interesting game, and when I first cracked it open, I was like, oof, 200 pages. But this one, and we'll get into it later, comes with not one, not two, but 3 starter adventures, which is really cool.
Yeah.
The more free stuff we get,
we like starter
better.
adventures.
I love it. Yeah. Give me all you can handle. I can take it.
Exactly. Fear itself is written by one Robin D. Laws and one Gareth Ryder-Hanrahan. Tough names. Great names. Gareth? Great
Ooh.
names. Yes.
Love it.
Very strong.
Gareth and
name.
Robin? Love it.
The Fear itself runs on the GUMSHOE system. And I feel as though we mentioned this system before, but I couldn't track down which episode we had or where it was connected.
Right.
But it might have been in a passing remark of Call of Cthulhu, because GUMSHOE was used with the Trail of Cthulhu game, which is kind of offshoot of Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah,
or so.
And we haven't done any games that have used the system. We have done some that are, I would go so far to say, maybe adjacent. But GUMSHOE is one of those systems like GURPS, all of those.
Exactly. Fate.
There's a lot of those systems that are almost like theme agnostic, but they're it's like a TTRPG skeletal bare bones system kind of thing that could be used to whatever you want it to be.
It's the system, not the game.
That's right. Yeah. So, and GUMSHOE's focused on like mystery and problem solving and things like that. Obviously, there's combat really and all that stuff too. But that is its best focused area is that type of game, which makes sense for something like this, obviously, because that's kind of the concept. That's what we're doing. Is we're solving. If you want to play Stranger Things, the game, this is how you could do it.
Bam.
Very easily.
Right here.
Right?
Yes. Just like
Just
this.
like this.
Sorry. Off topic.
It's a
back
thing.
on the topic
100%.
here. Robin D. Laws was born in and still resides in Ontario, Canada.
Woo! Canadian.
He's a homeboy. Yeah. He started playing RPGs in the 80s, like most of our esteemed authors do. And in the 90s, he joined Daedalus Entertainment after he pitched a game idea to owner Jose Garcia.
Okay.
That isn't a generic name at all.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I've heard that name before, but that's like being called John Smith in a certain degree, I guess. So.
During his time at Daedalus, he designed the collectible card game Shadow Fist, as well as a game called Feng Shui. When Daedalus filed for bankruptcy in 1997, Laws ended up with the rights of Feng Shui back to himself.
That's a bonus.
He got that property back,
I'd love
good.
to see
That's
it. Yeah,
very
if you're
Yeah.
the creator of a game system and it's under a company banner and that company goes under, you should be able to retain those rights back again.
You
So
should retain
that's
that,
good.
yeah.
I'm glad.
In 98, one Greg Stafford asked Laws to create a new game based on his world of Glanthra, which was released as Hero Wars and later revised and expanded as Hero Quest. DG, do you know Hero
The
Quest?
road showed. The best
Hero
thing about
Quest,
Hero
yes.
Quest is the box.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay.
You'll have to put a link to that.
Yeah. I'll throw a link.
That's
I'll
just
throw a link
awesome.
to the best thing about Hero Quest if you've never seen it. It's a phenomenal video, and
It is.
you'll love it.
I love it. I love how things just come right back
Yeah, it's
around.
great. It's fantastic.
Now, throughout this whole time in the 90s, he was also freelance writing for various games such as GURPS.
There it is.
We will get an episode on
Yeah.
GURPS.
Yeah, we need to do the
Worried.
Fallout RPG. GURPS also did.
Yeah.
They also did a Diablo RPG with the GURPS system too.
Yeah,
Like
I
around the
believe
time
so.
of Diablo 2, right? GURPS is like Gumshoe, but more
Yes, it is.
fighty.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
more explory fighty kind of, where
Yeah.
this one's mystery, that one's exploration kind of thing.
Exactly. He also worked on Earth Dawn, Vampire Dark Ages, and D&D 3.8.
No kidding.
Some
He was on third
supplements.
edition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, just supplements for it.
Interesting.
So, just to name a few of them, that's not even all that he was
Interesting.
doing at that
So
time.
very, very
in
in the RPG sphere.
Very much so.
Mhm.
In 2000, Robin started working with Pelgrane Press and worked on numerous games such as Dying Earth RPG, The Esoterists, Mutant City Blues, Ashen Star, and of course Fear itself. In the early 2000s, once Pelgrane Press had some momentum, they released the GUMSHOE system designed by Robin
Okay,
Laws.
so this is actually his system then.
This is
Oh,
his
okay.
system.
So it's not that Fear
And-
itself uses the Gumshoe system.
No.
He does, but
It does,
but
but
it's literally created by the person creating the system.
yeah.
Okay.
So, so does Esoterists. So does Ashen Stars.
I would imagine if he's
these
creating these games, a
all-
lot of them would be using that
Yeah.
game system.
These all use the GUMSHOE
Okay.
system. In 2025, Pelgrane Press appointed Laws as their creative director for
Good
the company.
for Robin.
Good for him.
Good for you. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. On the other hand, Gareth Ryder-Hanrahan, he was very tough to find
Okay,
anything
yeah.
pre-2003
Sure.
for.
I mean, now, to be
I-
fair, that's 23 years ago at this point. So
Yes, I do suspect because the pictures that I've seen of him, he looks to be a fairly middle-aged
All right.
man now, not into his years as one would say. So I'm thinking he just had a little slower start because he was also doing computer programming and he took time off to become a writer
okay,
and hasn't been back.
good for you, Gareth.
That was about 15 years ago or
good
so.
for you. Yeah, put the programming away. Start writing books.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
So sometime in the early 2000s, he started working with Mongoose Publishing. Now, TG, what games do Mongoose Publishing?
Well, I believe Mongoose Publishing handles Traveler, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, yeah,
And they was it Paranoia?
Paranoia
Okay,
as well. Yeah,
okay. And both of those
It's-
games we've already covered.
it is. Yes. Now,
Traveler's fantastic
As
by the
well.
way, so that's well done.
so he's credited with overseeing the writing of Paranoia,
Okay.
specifically the XP version.
I was going to say there's a lot of different versions of it, so
Yeah. as well as when Traveler Tui came into, or when Mongoose got Traveler, he was in charge of writing the core rulebook for that. So very
cool.
Not to mention, he wrote the 5th setting for RuneQuest.
Oh, no kidding. Okay. Yeah. We got 2 people involved with RuneQuest.
Yeah. No, this is RuneQuest, not
Oh, sorry. My bad. I got it. I was like, I got really excited there.
Very similar.
Yeah. Okay. So RuneQuest, aka the old PC game from the early 2000s.
Yes.
But we're talking about the TTRPG version of said game.
Yes.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah.
Did the game come out first? Did the PC game come out first and then the TTRPG?
The game came out first. It came out like shortly after the original D&D.
Okay, so yeah, they made a PC game from the TTRPG. I get you.
I forget who came up with the original RuneQuest. It wasn't Mongoose. It was.
You know
else.
what we could do? We'll do an episode on RuneQuest. It's coming.
I've been every time a new episode comes up and I'm like, what are we going to do it on? I scroll past RuneQuest
see it
because
there.
I've looked at the book.
It's a big book. Yeah, I can only imagine it would be a large one. There's a lot going on in that. So.
Yeah. So, anyways, he wrote the setting Hawk Moon.
Okay.
So all of the goodies that come with your Hawk Moon setting guide is right there. That was Gareth. Now, unfortunately, when Mongoose did some layoffs in about 2010, he got laid off with a bunch of other people.
Nuts.
So yeah, sucks.
That's right.
But he helped support Pelgrane Press's GUMSHOE system by releasing monthly supplements starting in the late 2010 and is now employed full-time there.
So it ended up being a good news story for him. You know, being laid off kind of sucks, but I mean, all things considered, here we are.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So, and this is what I really like about this hobby is that everything's all so intertwined and messy. Everybody's jumping around to these different publishing places and writing on all of these.
You got their fingerprints on all the different stuff that's out there, right?
Everywhere. Yeah.
And to think, I mean, we've got at Pelgrane, we've got obviously a whole team, but in regards to Robin D. Laws and Gareth Ryder-Hanrahan. Robin being somebody in TTRPG since the 80s, so we got 40 years of TTRPG there, and Gareth at least since the early 2000s, so there's 20 years in that regard. I mean,
and he was playing
exactly.
Them well before
then. Exactly. So very cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I do too. It's one of my favorite things about this hobby. But that's enough of those guys. We're not here to gush over.
I mean, we are a little bit, but it's you probably tuned into this to learn about the game, not necessarily people. We like to talk about the people because it's important to give credit where credit's due, and acknowledge that these games are created by people, right? And in this case, we're talking about a second edition too, right? Like this isn't like a first edition game that at least the one that we're looking at today, right?
Yes, this is specifically the second edition. I did forget to mention. Now, the difference between second edition and first edition, I believe there's a little more iteration and a little more fleshing out and added a couple things, but not much. The setting / theme for Fear itself is regular folks who are drawn into a confrontation with an unearthly realm of alien menace. So it's an investigative horror game, much like Call of Cthulhu, but a lot less heavy.
It makes sense.
And less crunchy as well. It focuses a lot on the story more than the dice rolls and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, with that being said, Finny, I think it's time we jump into, pop the hood, take a peek under here, see what's making this thing tick. Because we've mentioned the GUMSHOE a lot at this point, and we've also the fact that Robin D. Laws literally created this system. I think the first place to start is to talk about like what is the gumshoe system? Like, what does that even mean? Because I would assume that a lot of folks listening probably don't even, you may not have even heard of it. And if you had, you might not have a whole lot of experience with it, because while it's one of the quote unquote well-known systems, it's not nearly as prominent. Like, we're talking in a world of TTRPG where Dungeons and Dragons is the lion's share. We're talking about a subset of a subset of the what's remaining here, right?
A subset of a subset.
Of a subset, yeah.
Subset.
Like, there's a couple layers deep here at this point. So,
yeah.
So I mean, as a starting point, I think, let's talk about the gumshoe system. What is it?
First and foremost, the gumshoe system is about acquiring and using information, and core important information is never ever hidden behind a roll. It's always something that you go into the scene, you play that scene out, and you come out of that scene with the information that leads to the next scene. It's never gate.
If we're playing a mystery type of RPG, not being able to get the core information, it kind of kneecaps the whole concept of a mystery RPG, right?
It grinds the game to a
if you fail the roll and you miss
quick.
the key piece of evidence, obviously that's kind of it, right? So I like that that's literally written into the rules, that it's like, this is how it works. You will be getting this piece of information, but that doesn't mean it's not a cakewalk by any means. You're not just getting all the information, right?
Oh, no. You will be also, you roll your dice. By the way, the dice is a single D6.
Bust out the Yahtzee again.
Done.
We're good to go.
Dude, Yahtzee will have more than enough for everybody at the table.
That's this point. Yeah. I also like games. I know this is a bit of a tangent, but I like games that use the D6 solo, because anybody can play this game, right? A lot of people who don't play a lot of TTRPGs are, I hate to say that they're intimidated, but the concept of using RPG dice is a foreign concept to somebody who's never seen a D20 before. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's rolled a six-sided die at some point in their life. Everybody has.
Very few people have to even point at the pips and count them.
Yeah,
anymore,
exactly.
Right? They're at the point where they roll it, they look at it, they say,
right,
I got a 5. That's easy because it's that star kind of thing. Done. Whereas the D12 is a 12 on there. Well, it's funny how it rolls too.
Yeah, exactly.
No, and I really do like it as well. So, of course, the D6, we roll for general abilities. Don't worry, I'll explain general abilities. And we shoot for about a 4 or higher. Now, that's in an asterisk because, as all games, the GM has say. Sure,
there's difficulty involved. Right? If it's something very difficult, you might need to roll a 6 on the nose, kind of thing.
It'll be bumped up, yes. And then there are different things that you can use to modify it, but there aren't actually very many. There aren't actually modifiers per se when we do character creation either, which is really nice because it makes it, you pick some things and you roll a dice, and if it's over 4, of course the GM will let you know if you pass or fail. But yeah, that's it.
Ta-da!
That's the gumshoe system
love it,
in a nutshell. Like, it is.
Yeah,
it's simple.
It's we did a few Blades in the Dark type games, coming off of those ones. It employed a similar system, right? Where that one did kind of a dice pool thing. This one's just doing 1, right? So that would be the difference, but all intents and purposes, kind of in the same ballpark. If they play in the same sandbox, they're not the same game, right?
We'll get into it, but there is a pool system in here, but it's not dice pool.
Exactly.
It's point pools that move around. It's very, it's
lots of cool stuff.
I like it. Anyways,
no better way to learn this system, Finny, than to do the one thing that we both love to do, and that's make a character. We gotta create our. Now, the thing about the characters in this game is we're not creating a hero. We're just making a you or me, right? Like we're just making a dude, some random person.
We're making the waitress running the cafe. Like we're making the
drunk sitting in the corner of the bar, right?
Yeah, we're making the outspoken lawyer in his office. Like the washed up private eye.
Absolutely.
Stuff like that. Like
You're just some insert random attribute here, run of the mill person.
You are a random person. Yeah. And
I love it. I'm a big fan of that.
Like this. I don't like being overpowered when I start my character at level 1. There's no levels in this either, so don't worry about that. You're just
a person,
a dude, a gal running through this life.
I love the fact that it's set up that way because it puts the danger, like the risk to whether or not you're going to survive, that is at the forefront of all decisions, right? And it's not like you get to hide behind a giant pool of hit points or, have some super ultra epic armor that's going to protect you from the super omega beam. No, you're just a person. So you've got some tricks up your sleeve.
Exactly.
But you're still just a person.
You're still just a person. You can't jump.
Yeah. No superpowers
in a single bound. No. So first step, as always, when we create our characters, we come up with a concept.
Yeah.
What is this person? What do they do? So the concepts in Fear itself are limited to a single descriptor. The concepts in Fear itself are limited to simple descriptors of your character in the form of an adjective and a noun. So, for example, the drunken writer, the cheerful bartender, the good-looking gambler, etc., etc. Now, remember, these are ordinary people. That's all they get. Yep. 2 descriptors. After that, we determine our risk factors.
Yeah, exactly. I just before we jump too far, if you're not a wordsmith, page 10 in the rule book gives you a pretty decent sized example kit there. Feel free to just take what you got here, right?
Mix and match.
There's a lot of choices in that space. Don't fret either. Your character's probably going to die. No. Just make a new one.
So, Fear itself plays like a horror movie. You have the beginning where everybody's normal, everybody's enjoying their thing. Something happens. They get dragged into this awful situation. And how many people typically make it out of the horror movie?
Yeah,
like
not
1,
many.
Maybe 2.
Yeah, so if you go down, it was just
maybe
a good story, is what it was. So it's no big deal. You'll be ready to go for the next one.
Exactly.
The game is intended, it says on the back of the book, by the way, this game is intended to be played as a one-shot, right? Like this game is not intended to be this long expanding campaign. You're supposed to take this and rinse and reuse this game on you reuse the rules and make new settings and stuff. We'll get into some of the specifics, but just so you understand, right, as we get into the creation of the characters, we're not talking super in depth that you're going to get so connected to this character you're never going to want to see them lose, right?
All right, so after we get our concept, we do our risk factors. Now, these are what motivates our characters to actually go into the deep, dark, dank basement, to enter the abandoned psych, to go to the spooky, ooky places instead of turning tail and running away to safety. So they give some examples here as well of things that would be motivating to a character. Come up with something that drives you. You're looking for your lost brother. He got something, disappeared. You're looking for him.
Yeah.
Whatever. Doesn't matter. As long as it motivates that character to go into places that they wouldn't usually go.
Exactly, right? And the book kind of explains, it's on page 12, right? It's, why don't they just run away concept of things, and it kind of goes into that a little bit more. So the rules kind of condense down into the risk factors should equal out to the type of game that you're playing. Right. While I just said that the game's intended to be played as one shots, it still can be played as larger scale games like any TTRPG can. And they list that out on the page here, that they're one shots, miniseries, and campaigns are what they kind of break into.
After we get our risk factor down, we get a number of points to buy investigative abilities. Now, the number of points depends on how many people are playing. There's a table on page 13, and you divvy those up however you feel. Right.
Yeah, this isn't like a point buy system. It's if you want to put that all into strength, go for it.
Well, yeah. We do get 60 points to put into general abilities, and the general abilities this is where your physical abilities are, and this is where your like your medic skills and stuff like that are. The investigative abilities are like history.
And there's loads of them, right? Like there's a lot of stuff
yeah.
in here that's on pages 14 and 15, basically, that explains how it spans and how you swap them around and what you end up doing with this and stuff. Like talking history, language, law, to bureaucracy, cop talk, reassurance, computer use, outdoor survival, athletics, driving, fleeing, health, hiding. There's a load of them in here.
Yeah.
There's literally a whole page of them. And so you put your points in and you make your character up using that, right?
Yeah. Now, I will state that every player character automatically gets 1 point into health and 1 point into stability. Stability is your mental well-being. This is your sanity. You lose it all, you go insane. Well, asterisk, because we'll get into that later. Fun fact, when you hit 0, you know, go insane. You have to go to negative. There are a lot of abilities, again, 26 investigative abilities divided into 3 categories: academic, interpersonal, and technical. There are also 15 general abilities. Well, you need to have at least 1 point into an ability to get to roll for it. If it's a 0, you automatically fail that roll. So
you don't even get a chance to roll for it.
Because you're not... Exactly. There are certain abilities that are capped. If it's an investigation ability, that means that you don't get to buy it during character creation unless you are a specifically investigation or combat expert. Now, the book goes into detail slightly before character creation, but what all that is there,
about. The specific details of it, right? But exactly. But the basic concept is you can spend the points as you want. If you're new to the game, or if it's one of your first games, there are some guidelines that they list out on page 14 that are going to be beneficial. One of which says that for general abilities, spend 8 to 12 points each on health and stability. Pick 3 or 4 other highlighted abilities, spend around 8 points on them, and then spread everything else out as you see fit.
Yeah.
To give yourself a specialty, right? And the ability to survive.
They do also state that it's good for you guys, like the whole table, to build the characters together so that you can cover all of your bases.
Make sure that you got no blind spots. Yeah.
Instead of one person being a jack of all trades and everybody else being experts in one thing.
Right? I did like the line, when in doubt, invest in fleeing. Because that's reality, right? We're talking in a horror movie, you don't take the killer out. You get away from the killer, so it's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, there's a thing further down. We'll get to it later on, but it's retreat is not defeat.
Yeah, which is typically the opposite of every TTRPG table I've ever been part of.
Exactly.
But
so I will say that in the general abilities, the maximum that you can buy at character creation is half of the value that the investigation or combat expert has invested into their ability of that. It's very confusing. It took me more read-throughs than I care to admit to actually get a hold of that. After we get our abilities sorted out, we flesh out our personalities. Not our personalities,
kind of the same
details
thing to a
about
degree.
Our character. Yeah. So this is their name, their mannerisms, their physical description, etc., etc. After that, we get to source out the source of stability for our characters. And basically, for every 3 points that you invest into stability, you must name one thing that keeps you sane when you come face to face or investigate.
Think the spinning tops in was it Inception?
Exactly.
Yeah.
In Inception. Yes. So these come in the forms of traits, activities, and people. The catch here is that you cannot select more personality traits than people, nor can you choose more activities than asterisks, because after I was done reading that, I was like, okay, that's easy. I know how to do that. And then their example goes on to say, no, that's not how that works at all. So here's the example. The book gives the example. If you have 15 stability, you pick a trait, an activity, and then you have to pick a person before you can pick another trait or an activity. So it's more of an order that you do these in rather than
Got it.
a rule, right? So it has to be trait, activity, person,
Right.
trait, activity, person, not trait.
Yeah,
trait,
you're not selecting whatever
activity,
you want.
person.
You do have to select it in a specific order.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to do. I'm thinking it's meant to be done in that
And
order.
easily sussed out by speaking with the folks around your table, trying to work it out that way.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Once we are done with that confusing mess, we get to get a personal
What are
goal
we?
for
What are
our
we
character.
doing?
Now,
What do we want to get done here?
remember, these are normal people
That's
with
right.
normal goals. So that's like getting into a good college, getting that promotion you've always wanted. You know, working towards.
It's not
buying
taking
that
down
new
the
house.
supernatural being.
Exactly, because at the beginning of this game and during this
You
character
don't even know
creation,
that
you
that
have
is a
no
thing.
idea that there are supernatural beings out there. Yeah, you just are a dude having a coffee in a cafe. Yeah,
It's a good. I love it.
Yeah,
The
I love
character
it.
system is really cool here.
What it does is it brings depth into your.
Yeah, it breathes some life into the concept that you're just an everyday run of the mill person.
Yeah, and that is it. We have created our character that is unwittingly ready for investigating this.
We're ready to rock and roll. I love it.
Yeah. So after the character creation, next up in the book, because the book goes character creation, yada yada, all the rules after that. The book has a section on tips for the players. Now this covers stuff like don't make the safe choice. Choose the type of terrifying risk that you're most able to confront. Do not turn tail and run, because that is where this game grinds to a halt. And
if you're constantly avoiding the
there's
danger,
a reason that
it's making smart choices.
Exactly.
I think is what it's basically getting to. Not the safe choice, the smart choice, right?
Exactly. Yes. Don't ever take. I'm not going to say don't ever.
Sometimes
take
you
the
need
safe
to
choice.
take the safe choice, but in order to
Sometimes you need to.
progress the story and in order to figure out what's going on and solve the mystery, you have to take the walks down the steps into the basement, kind of thing, right?
That's right. Exactly. You want to always progress the story. If you are not moving forward, you're not progressing. So there's another one that's find a way to be proactive. Think about the group. Embrace the mundane. Embrace flashbacks and directed scenes. There's a little table that has like directed scene of flashbacks to give a little more depth to your character. And fight the monsters, not the GM. Now, and retreat isn't defeat. Now, a lot of these, actually, all of these are system agnostic. These are great rules for all players.
Yeah, if you're new to
game you play.
TTRPG, that's gold. If you're not new to TTRPG, it's still gold, but you're probably going to look at it and scoff, right? The concept of running away is not one that I've ever seen done at a table by a group of players. Usually they figure they can fight and win. And so I would recommend in a game like this to really work with your GM, and that's what it was referring to with fight the monsters, not the GM, right?
Yeah.
You should be in discussions with the GM, creating the story similar to what we were talking about with Blades in the Dark, right? It's a collaborative storytelling is what we're doing at the end of the day. We're just rolling dice and turning it into a game at the same time.
Exactly. That's what it all boils down to. Also, retreating
it's a legitimate strategy. It's just every time I've ever ran a table and I've put the players in a position where they should run, they never do. And then me as a GM, I got to decide, okay, well, do I take the players out because they're refusing to run, or do I change the strategy and now force it into a different way? And usually I'll give them the fine, you didn't run, but then this happens, right?
Always take them down to one player left. Leave one
Send
player
a
to tell
message.
the story. Yeah. And that's it. That's it for the players' tips and tricks. Now we have the actual rules section. This is on starting on page 23. That's right, folks.
Yeah,
We're
23.
23 pages into this book. And
we covered a lot of ground in a short period of time.
Yeah.
And for what it's worth, the book's only in 2 columns, too. It's not like Call of Cthulhu, Vampire the Masquerade that was in... Was it 3? Vampire the Masquerade, was it Call of Cthulhu that did 3 columns?
That was Vampire
was it both of them? That's Vampire. Vampire the Masquerade is still, without a shadow of the doubt, though, the heaviest book we've ever done.
That's a hard read.
We went through a lot of information in 23 pages, but it was condensed and it was well laid out.
Yes.
In a way that by the time that you get here, you've got a ready to play character and ready to play players.
Exactly. Now, for the rules, we have core clues. Now, again, these are clues that you cannot miss.
Yeah.
And they point the way to the next. There could be multiple clues that point in various directions, but the main thing to take away here is that you will find all of those core clues in each scene.
Yeah. If this one's identified as the big clue,
the big reveal,
you're getting this. Yeah. You're getting this one.
They will transition. They will be your stepping stones to the next scene, whether you take A, B, or C door. Right. We have simple searches. These are things that you don't need to have a point in the ability to see. So things like a heavy boot print in mud, claw marks on a door. These are things that anybody can see unless you're blind. But that's your character choice, not mine. But anybody can notice this stuff, right? You don't have to be trained in. We have 0-point clues. Some clues are things that only someone trained in the ability would notice, but they aren't super important to the story. They add flavor, atmospheric details. They are setting the stage, so to speak. These clues are awarded to players who have points in the ability, but it doesn't require a roll to notice. The GM will say, John, you notice that the car's broken down and you figure it might be the transmission, stuff like that.
Yeah. Because you put points into
because you specifically,
repair
John,
ability or something like that.
The mechanic ability or whatever. Next up, we have investigative spends and benefits. Now, this is where the gumshoe is really cool. If you've allocated any points into an ability, you can roll to find clues based on that ability. Now, these clues are not like the core clues. These are extra clues that kind of...
And they're missable.
Reinforce the story here. Yeah. They are missable. If you're not looking for them, you're not finding them. Now, you also have those points as a pool of spendable points that can give you a benefit or extra information about a clue. Now, the spends have to be declared before you roll your d6. You are gambling. You are hedging your bet that you will roll higher than the DC. Now, the DCs here typically are 4. That doesn't mean they can go up to 9 quite easily. 9 is impossible. Pretty
close to not being able to get that
exactly.
done.
So if you're rolling something, you're like, I want to make sure I find something. I'm going to spend 2 points here to make my roll, and it's a 4 plus 2 is 6. Now I've got a 6 to beat that DC instead of having the pool
instead of flat dice.
Yeah. Now that ability gets knocked down by 2 now, so you're not if you put 4 into that ability, you're at 2 now instead of 4. So the next time this ability check comes back up, you can spend another 2, but then you'll be at 0 and
you won't be able to use that skill anymore.
Exactly.
Well, yeah.
Well, no.
You can use it, but you can't spend points to boost it.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. That's a very cool
system.
thing.
Yeah, I like that.
This system. Again, you don't know in advance if there's a benefit associated with this clue found or with a clue found with a spend. Now, this is up to the GM to decide if there's a benefit, but you can't waste any points. If you spend points and there is no benefit to this, you get the points back. If there's no extra stuff to it, you get those points back. They are never wasted.
Again, I really like that it's a fail-safe in there, right? So no matter what, if you're going to spend those points, because the game is encouraging you to spend the points, right? You don't want to hoard these points.
No, you don't want to hoard them.
It's creating a safety net where if you spend that and it fizzles out into nothing, you get your points right back. You didn't lose anything other than a roll of the dice kind of thing.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. And you got your clue from it if you won or lost, whatever. Next up, we have tests. Now, tests are only used for general abilities. These tests have a fairly high chance of failure. That being said, they may provide advantages if you win or dire consequences if you lose. These tests are broken down into two categories, simple tests and contests. Now, a simple test these are rolls for things like sneaking into an unguarded building, binding a wound, shooting at a target, etc., etc.
Stuff that anyone could do.
Exactly. Now, you do have to have the skill point into that to roll it, but it is. The GM calls for the roll and decides on the DC. The DC 2 being a very simple DC is almost a guaranteed pass, or like all the way up to 8 being near impossible, right? Now, remember, we are rolling a single D6 to beat this DC, and we can spend points from that skill to pass. But again, those points are limited, and they have
you're dealing with a small pool.
They have to be called beforehand. Yeah. Contests, on the other hand, these occur when two characters, UC and an NPC, but not always, attempt to thwart one another. Now, this is resolved turn by turn. The first one to lose or fail their roll loses. Typically, the DC we are shooting for is 4 again, but the GM has final save.
And that's a contest. That's not combat.
Contest
is different than this, because a contest may be like a battle of wills or running through a parkade and trying to escape or something like that, right?
Exactly.
Like there's something where if you fail this roll, there's going to be consequences, but combat is literally active attacking.
Combat requires the use of skills. Yes. So combat.
Might as well jump right into that one.
May as well jump right in. Why not? It's slightly more complicated than in contest. We use one of two abilities for combat. We have scuffling, which is close combat, and shooting, which is your ranged combat.
Yeah.
Turn
close
order is
long combat.
Exactly. Yeah. Turn order is decided either by whoever is the aggressor in the scene, or the character with the highest current pool numbers decides if they are the aggressor or the defender. There is neither.
If it's a bit wishy-washy.
If it's a wishy-washy.
I would imagine most combats are initiated by one side or the other, so you probably don't run into that all that often. But I'm glad that there is a release in case there is something where you just happened, you Scooby-Dooed and opened the same door.
Exactly.
And
you ran into each other and went, uh-oh. So what we are doing in combat is we're shooting for the hit threshold. Now, this is either a 3 or a 4. A 4 if that character has athletics rating of 8 or more. Yeah. This is their AC. So it's their 2 hit. So you roll the dice. If it's a 3 or higher, you hit them. Running away, running from ongoing melee means you have to succeed on an athletics fleeing test. And this is why you invest into fleeing if you don't know anything else.
Because you might need to get away.
That's right. The DC for this is 3 plus the number of foes you are escaping from. So that could go terrible awfully quick. Running from larger enemies or in cramped spaces may also raise the DC. This is this call here again,
Makes sense.
It always is. If you fail a running roll, you are automatically hit, or one of your enemies could spend 3 athletics to block your way, and you cannot make an escape attempt again for this combat.
Yeah,
That's
which could
rough.
mean the end of your character.
Exactly. Damage. For once you hit your AC, you do the damage. There is a damage modifier on page 41 that gets added to or subtracted, because there are negative modifiers in there, to the damage roll. And this is, of course, a D6 roll again. So if one of them is a -2 for fists and kicks. if you roll a 2 on your d6, you do 0 damage.
Yep.
Sucks to be you. Sorry.
That's the way it goes.
I will state that you cannot spend points to get or for damage.
Yeah.
You can only do that for the attacks.
For the attacking. And it's, I mean, similar, most TTRPGs allow you to add things like your proficiency bonus to your attack, but not to your damage, because the damage is a static number, whereas the chance to attack should be moving around.
Is fluid, yes. Now, health, as I alluded to earlier, is handled a little differently in this game compared to others. At 0 HP, you're not out of the fight. Well, you're out of the fight, you're not dead.
But you're not dead.
You're not dead. He's not dead, Jim.
Yeah, you could crawl away from this one if you had to.
Exactly. From 0 to -5, you are hurt. It is impossible for you to spend points on investigate, it is impossible for you to spend points on investigative abilities. For all tests and contests are increased by 1, including AC tests.
Yeah. Like you've broken your leg, so you can't be running so quick no more. So no more spending the points. You're not being sneaky.
Over your eye. Yeah, exactly.
You're leaving trails behind you, right?
Yeah. So then from a -6 to a -11, you are seriously wounded. You make a consciousness, a d6, and you're shooting for, of course, that 4 number. Until you receive first aid, you are out of the fight, and you will continue to lose 1 HP every half hour unless you are stabilized. This is done with a medic ability check, DC of 3. So not terrible, not awesome.
Well, if nobody has medic, it's going to be terrible.
After receiving first aid, you're hospitalized or in a similar setting, quote unquote, for a number of days equal to your negative HP. So -8 HP means you are in there for 8 days. Which on is discharge.
Not good if you're going up against the clock of evil approaching. So
exactly. On discharge, you regain half of your HP pool and regain the full HP the next day. So that would suck. Also, at -12, you're dead, Jim.
You're gone.
Hey, Macon, it's not happening anymore.
I'm going to need to see that character sheet, please. Yeah. And you're gone. Gone.
That's right. There's no coming back. There's no resurrection magic in this. There's no
you're just
anything.
A person.
You're just a dude.
Regular people can't get resurrected, and that's just how it is.
That's right.
So.
As far as I know, they can't. After that, we have stability tests. Now, every violent encounter puts you at risk of PTSD. So a roll for stability is a 4. You fail, you lose stability points. The amount lost depends on the situation. There's a table of examples of incidents with associated stability losses on page 46. Now, I will say, I'm saying DC.
Yep.
Nowhere in this book is there a difficulty class. They are difficulty numbers.
Yeah, it's just easier to it's just easier to think of it this way.
Yeah.
And the other thing with stability tests, remember earlier when we were talking about the sources of stability? Well, this is where they're used.
This is where they all comes back.
All comes back.
So like HP, if your stability drops to 0, you aren't insane yet.
You're going.
The results of falling below 0 vary from game to game and from character to character as their psyche breaks. Now, on a -1 to a -5, you are losing it, quote unquote. You can pick, or you can let the GM pick, or you can roll on a handy table on page 47. These are things like panicked, blacked out, or berserker rage.
I think I would be rolling on that table.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool stuff in there.
Yeah, and it's a D6 table, which is actually really funny too, right? Like,
it's really nothing.
Yeah.
It's a D6 table. It's great.
It's great. Love it.
On a -6 to a -11, you become shattered. Now, you need to undergo psychological treatment to recover, and you get to pick, roll, or let the GM pick from this table on page 48.
Also a D6 table.
These ones include distorted reality, incapacitated, or blacked out with teeth. This is like losing it only So this blacked out is just like the other blacked out, only you did bad things when you were blacked out.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to face the consequences of that when you come back to Sanity.
Like werewolf-ish.
Yeah, exactly. So at a -12, you are going, gone. The player chooses or randomly rolls. This is a choice that the GM can never make. This specific one. You become lost, turned, or are checking out.
Yep.
Now, for the description of those, basically lost, you got the 1,000-yard stare. Turned, you become part of the cult that you're going after or whatever. And checking out is you're
just gone.
You're done.
Yeah.
The next time you fall to 0 or to the next time you roll to -6.
Yeah, it says the next time you have
HP.
to make a consciousness roll.
Yes, you don't. You just fail.
Yeah, you just don't make that
You're
consciousness roll. You're just
now you're dead.
You're just dead straight up
Goodbye.
because you're just like I don't even care anymore. It's not worth it.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Pretty dark. But
Yes.
with that being said, I mean, it's very similar to Call of Cthulhu where you're running 2 HP bars, basically,
Yes.
right? You've got your
Yes,
health
it
and your
is.
sanity. You have to keep both of them up. So the stability side of the house is just a second HP bar. It just goes from left to right instead of right left kind of thing.
That's right. So now, being shattered can be cured through prolonged treatment using the shrink ability, but it is slow. I believe it's like 1 point per day of seeing the shrink.
Chances
It's
are,
rough.
whatever it is that's coming,
Yeah.
it's coming. It's already here.
So that's enough of that stuff.
Yeah.
How about regaining
Getting
pools?
back into it again.
So
Spent those points. Now what?
you spent those points. Now it's time to regain them. Now you can regain spent points by resting at a haven. So this is somewhere where the PCs can rest without danger or
Safe place.
horrors for an hour or more. You can refresh up to 3 abilities except health and stability.
Which makes sense.
Now, this rest only happens once per session.
Yeah.
It's not something you get to do every couple hours, once per session. You can connect with a source of stability. Now, this is the thing that we did at the beginning when we created our character. We picked one, and this lets us regain 2 points. Now, those sources are, of course,
stability.
our personality, our trait, our activity, or our person, right? You can give them a phone call, talk to them. That'll help you. Typical good mental health things.
Right.
Indulging in risk. Now, if a PC voluntarily indulges in a risk factor that endangers or inconveniences their character or another PC, like getting drunk during on watch, you regain 2 stability.
Yep.
And rest as well. HP recovers 2 points per day of rest. Now, this is like sleeping in your house.
Yeah.
Rest.
Yeah.
Spending the day at rest, not
Yeah, you're not
Just a long
like
rest.
doing stuff but not active kind of thing. Like
So
you
you
basically
can touch-
spend the day doing
Yes.
XYZ, not progressing the story
not progressing story, not doing anything
in exchange for 2
investigating.
HP.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then automatic refreshes. There are pools of physical abilities are fully restored after 24 hours since you spent the last point. Other general abilities. So those physical abilities, that's like your drive, your athletics, stuff like that, your shooting. The other general abilities restore at the end of each game, just like investigatives. So at the end of each session, they refresh. You get to start the new session
with your points.
refreshed.
Makes sense.
From here, the rest of the book has info for the GM to create their own mystery and how to run it, as well as a small bestiary. There are some GM tips and tricks for running one-shot adventures, the mini-series adventures. These are like 5 or 6 session adventure mini-series ones.
Yep.
And then the full-length campaigns, as well as the pre-made to go along with this.
I did like that the bestiary also included how to create your own monster if you want as well. I thought that was really
because
slick.
It's a horror movie, and we are all our own worst enemy when it comes to that.
Right. Well, you
Flipping
need
through the book is
you need to have
you
a
can
bad
pick
guy,
some of them.
right? Like,
Yeah, but coming up with your own, that's a little icing on the cake because
yeah. And I did
it's
like
just better.
that the monsters are kind of laid out similar to that of like old school RPG, right? You know, they've got abilities just like you do. They've got the what they call a hit threshold, which is essentially the DC. Or 2-hit AC is 0.
Yeah, they're
to hit AC 0.
Dope.
Whether or not they have armor, what their their awareness modifier, their stealth modifier, their damage modifier. So they're laid out very, very basic with some concepts of like, what do they look like? How do they act? Where do they get their power from? All of these different things. If they have any abilities or any of that kind of stuff, which I thought that was really slick. The any game that includes a bestiary is super, super awesome. Any game that gives you the tools to create your own monsters and create your own bestiary is even better.
Yeah. I like the creating your own monster because there's something personal about putting your monster into there and having your players fight that monster.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's it for the book.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shorter book because over half of this book is dedicated to the adventures that it gives you, which is super cool.
Which is super cool.
I did like that the it's a little less than 200 pages and we're done the rules at about 90, 98, 99 ish kind of thing.
Somewhere around there.
So I mean that's not
just
bad.
About halfway.
Yeah, not so bad.
It's a good set of rules.
Yeah.
How are you feeling on this?
This game is super interesting. I don't know. So horror games aren't really my thing. I like the gumshoe system. I do enjoy the simplicity of the system. Like I mentioned, I like that they included the bestiary and the ability to create your own monsters. The artwork, the way that the book is laid out, I thought that was really cool too. There's a little bit of art. The monsters are kind of all hand drawn, which that was really cool as well. It's got a good vibe to it. I don't know if I would play this one personally. Not to say that it's because it's a not a great game or anything like that. It's just I tend to stick to fantasy based, space based, that kind of realm, right? Like the sci-fi world, the fantasy world. Those tend to be my bread and butter. If I got invited to play this game, I absolutely would. I don't know if I would run it, I guess is what I'm kind of trying to say, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of games out there that require story building. And I don't know. Horror ones are ones I tend to kind of lean away from just because you need specific people to be in those. And the worst part is that especially when it comes to horror, people have varying degrees of what they are and aren't okay with. And so it would be very, very difficult. You'd have to have a table of like-minded people so that things don't go overboard. You know what I mean? And so
things can get out of hand real quick.
I would recommend a very clear, concise, conversationalist episode 0 kind of thing, right? Session 0, to really make sure that everybody's on the same page in what you're getting into, because the TTRPGs are games that make you feel things, right? They're stories that make you really get invested and feel, and so it could go the wrong way real quick. Now, with that being said, all of that aside, the game itself, the mechanics of the game, I like it. I like that the character sheet is simple. I like that the game, the way that it plays is really simple. And I really, really like the point buy pool system. I think that's really cool. So.
Yeah.
What about you, man?
I'm digging this game.
Mm-hmm.
I would play it. I would, like you, I would not run it.
Yeah, it'd be really hard to run, I think.
It would be, because if I was a horror flick, aficionado,
absolutely,
that would be.
This is your bread and butter if that's the case, right?
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
Horror movies are not my favorite thing. They are one of my least favorite
Sure.
genres to actually watch.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that has all the lights on and the volume
Hey,
turned
I
down,
get it.
watching the
Absolutely.
horror movie with subtitles
Yeah.
on. And that being said, the GUMSHOE system is super
the
slick,
system's
and
slick.
I love it.
I like it too.
It works really well for an investigative
Mm-hmm.
game, and it's not heavy and crunchy like the Call of Cthulhu
Yeah.
system, but you do get the same kind of feel from this game. I do like the point spend system as well as the D6 rolls. It makes it very approachable for anybody to sit
for
down
sure.
and play it. That being said, with the horror thing, there are ways to change this in anything.
Oh, of
else.
course, yeah.
The book does lay out little things on how to change the abilities to reflect like a Wild West thing or a sci-fi thing or like a hospital. There's one that they were talking about a hospital that's being overrun and a zombie apocalypse happening, right? Something like that. I could play something like that a lot easier than I could play like a slasher.
For
flick,
sure.
right?
And you know, the same thing could be said about most TTRPGs, I think, right? You could always use
shift
you could always use the bones of the system, but the thing for me is that if I'm going to take this game and turn it into a zombie game, I'm probably just going to pick up a zombie game instead, right? Like
you have to know the system in and out to be able to mix and match and change it to make it work.
Great looking game, and the crew that's created it, I think they should absolutely be proud about the system itself and how it runs through.
Yes.
Like I said, I think if I was invited to a table, I would absolutely join and I would play it. I don't think I could run this game though, so it's the way it goes.
Yeah. It would be a lot of fun to play with, though.
It really would.
Yeah.
That's it. That's going to wrap up Fear itself. So, Finny, I guess that leaves one last thing for us to do in this episode, and that's to take ourselves over into the post-pod. 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 The post-pod. We're a little rusty coming back from the New Year's break. Happy New Year's, everybody, by the way. Happy New Year's. But Finny, you rolled the post-pod, so I'm not even gonna scroll down. And you just hit me with it.
How much out of game planning is too much planning for characters, parties, plots?
You know, for the characters or for the DMs? Because
for the characters.
I don't think characters should be doing a whole lot of out of game planning. I really think the vast majority, if you're a character, I think talking about the game is perfectly fine. I think hatching a plan outside of the game is less fine, right? Because typically what I've seen in that type of scenario is the players hatching a plan to thwart the DM more so than to thwart the whatever scenario it is that they're facing, which could lead to all manners of bad things that would likely end up in the previous episode about taking a break from the game. If you're talking about the characters themselves. Now, if you're talking about the DM, I am an over planner, unfortunately. That is my cross to bear as a DM, and I plan way out. The way that I build my adventures, I build like a golden thread. So this is, if we're talking in the form of Fear itself, I create the core clues, and then I weave the tapestry around it, right? And so no matter what, there is story progression happening, but that it's a lot of work to do it that way, because you have to essentially write a story without writing a story.
You have to write all of the
There's a lot of branching paths that are involved in that space, which, sucker for punishment, I guess, to a certain degree. As far as it goes to the character, though, no, I think your planning should be left at the table or just before or just after the session. If we play on a Sunday and you call me up on Wednesday to talk about how we're going to defeat the monsters on next Sunday, that's not cool. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. So I feel that it is time sensitive. So if the party has a bunch of downtime. That's completely different. Make plans.
Absolutely. That's a different story.
Because if you're resting at the tavern, make plans. That's fine. If you're in the middle of battle, a word does not get said outside of the session.
Yeah, it's
right.
Yeah, because you're gonna unravel something that you shouldn't be.
Exactly.
Right? The concept of my character wouldn't know that comes up. You know, the metagaming concept of things.
Metagaming comes up, and that's rough. But like I say, if you're in a tavern and you got downtime, plan what you want.
I want you to engage with my game and the world and the stuff within it. I don't want you to be thinking about how to thwart me, the GM.
I don't want you messing with my encounter.
Yeah, I'm all in for like unique solutions to a problem, but what comes to mind is like those videos that will pop up on YouTube where it's like, here's 13 ways to create the most broken fighter in the planet, right? Like that kind of stuff doesn't fly at my table, and I'll call it out immediately and say, hey, no, that's not gonna happen, and if that's the type of game you want to play, I'm not the GM for you. I'm sorry, that's just not how I work. So
yeah, exactly.
But what
because
what do you do? Everyone has fun different ways. Your fun is valid.
That's
Don't let me yuck your yum, but don't bring that broken.
Yeah, but your fun might not.
Don't
be
bring
my
that
fun.
broken crap to my table. Just kidding. That's gonna do it for episode 36. I want to thank each and every one of you for listening, choosing to stream this from wherever it is that you chose to collect it from, whether it be from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. And the current YouTube location for the podcast is at youtube.com/@DadGamingOnline, where you can also find our live stream of the Dungeons & Dragons game that we play every single Sunday night at 9 p.m. Mountain Time. And you can also find that stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/DGOnline.
There's also a email to reach out at us at itismastersofpenandpaper@gmail.com. All words, no symbols. Drop us a line. Let us know what you would do in a horror movie. We also have a Discord server and lots of stuff going on in there, our own little corner of the internet where we get to talk about nerd stuff and game, TTRPG, and food, and all that fun stuff. Good group of people on there.
The best.
Yeah. It's the best.
That's it. That's all. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this. Episode 36 is now officially in the bank, and that means 37 is the next one. So that's coming to you in 2 weeks' time. Make sure to tune in for that. And until then, keep gaming. Have a great time.
Take care, everyone.